Hello, Gelato Familia. It's George, the Disney Italiano, coming to you with another live. And once again, I got my partner in crime here, Mr. Theme Park Conductor, joining me today for all the lengthy festivity conversations that we always have on both here, Hollow Gelato, and on his own channel, Theme Park Conductor. And today we're going to discuss everything of Universal's Fan Fest 2026. Conductor and I, along with our like 24 entourages that we went on opening night, we're going to actually discuss some of our likes, dislikes, pros, cons, all that good jazz. But before we get into that, Mr. Theme Park Conductor, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I'm still recovering from that night, believe it or not. I'm still like
I am too, actually. I'm right there with you.
Dude, like you said, we had an entourage. It was crazy. There was probably like, I don't know, God, what? Maybe 15 of us.
It started out with 12 of us. And then it just kind of manifested like while we were there meeting up with people, and it became like 24.
Oh, it was crazy. But it was a wonderful night. I'm super excited to talk about this because we have actually my partner in crime when it comes to the HHN. He's actually there for day 2 of the event with other individuals there right now. So I hope he's enjoying it. And then me and Hollow Gelato were actually just talking about going back for a second time. So you know what? I might go back for the food. I missed the One Piece show, so I definitely want to go back and see that and film that. And we're going to talk about that because there was some confusion behind that. But everybody, you can find me Theme Park Conductor on YouTube, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we talk everything from Universal to Disney. We speculate, we talk rumors, and we're definitely going to be talking about Fan Fest nights coming up. We're going to be talking about HHN, D23. That's on the countdown clock of probably like, what, 3 months and 29 days or something crazy like that. We're already talking about that and so much more. And we have amazing guests like the one, the only, Mr. Hollow Gelato himself with his spicy Italian theme park opinions. And he's growing that hair. I don't know what's going on. And, a little, oh my gosh. But it's a great time. Come join us because it's just an absolute blast.
Awesome. Yeah. And thank you so much, Conductor. And again, it's always great, collaborating and, talking about this stuff. And as I said, I think you and I are like not to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but I think we are the king of the live shows because I'm sorry, like after our 11-hour marathon run, I'm sorry, everything else is child's play.
It truly is.
But in any case, so FanFest 2026.
Sure.
Kind of giving like the overall before we go into like each like specific section and the details and everything. For me, I enjoyed myself. I loved the company that we were with. We had a great time. There was a lot of great high point moments. Comparing to last year's Fan Fest with Universal coming out with a bang with Hill Valley going down and having like the full Back to the Future set and going through scenes of the movie and everything. I have to say, I think nothing so far has topped last year's Fan Fest for me. But this year was decent. It was good.
Yeah. No, 100%. And before I give my opinions, I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Some of you guys I ran into probably last night. It's funny, I got a text on Instagram yesterday, and I was reading it on the way home, and there was someone that saw us at Lamplight Lounge, me, Tommy, and Madame Lizelle, and I ran into some people in the park, and then at FanFest nights, I ran into a bunch of you, so that was very cool to see. But overall, um, I think last year's FanFest really went out with a bang. The reason why, like you said, Back to the Future was the big draw because there is such a big fan nostalgia fan base for Back to the Future.
Mhm.
It was just so big, and there was a lot going on the back lot with Hill Valley. Then one of the things I like, which I again saw this year, um, our creative director, Mark Woodbury, which is basically the comparison to what Josh Tomorrow was for the Walt Disney Company before he became CEO. Um, he was there with his entourage and he was enjoying everything. Like everything that FanFest had, he was there engaging with the community. He was talking with fans, taking pictures with people. So I really do commend Universal for stuff like that, where you even have top executives, you know, not surrounded by like security or anything like that, and just kind of being part of the community and engaging, which I like that. And that's something I totally respect on on,
Absolutely.
on a respect level, because when you think about it, when you go to these theme parks and you spend this type of money, whether it's an after dark event or it's just a regular day at Universal or Disney, and you see these executives walking around, kind of filling out the vibes, talking to guests and whatnot, I respect that, and I like that because that shows that they're not just corporate minded; they're like everybody minded.
I
And
agree. I enjoy the people in the business world that do come down on our level and
sure,
aren't so, as you say, corporate. Yeah, I commend that. I respect that, and I applaud them for it. Now, I do want to say, when we do go back for our second round, I'm very curious to see how the crowd level is going to be because we went opening night, and you know how things are for the first day. Everyone and their grandmother goes,
yeah,
So I'm curious to see if the hype is still there, if it's the same, if it grows, if it diminishes down. So that's going to be very telling. I do
yeah,
have to say, to John Make It Rain, who says, I don't think Universal will continue this fan fest for very long. I understand people like it, but it just doesn't seem viable long term. So John, I do respect your comment, but I have to actually respectfully disagree with that. Just for the sake that even though that last year was better for me, anyways, the amount of people, and this is again, I want to see what it's going to be like for the second time around. For some of um the IPs that Universal chose for the Fan Fest. And I think Universal kind of cracked the code with it. And honestly, that one word is anime. For
yes,
some reason, I think now the domestic parks understand why the international parks are so successful is because we are now starting to integrate anime IP into the domestic parks. Maybe not permanently just yet, but starting off with these after hour events, I think is a great way to start. It started last year with One Piece, and they just did the meet and greet. That was through the roof. Then they decided to bring the meet and greets back for One Piece, but then also add a show into the Waterworld. Sorry, I used to work in a location called Waterworks, so forgive me, folks. Waterworld Amphitheater. And I tell you what, and conductor, I know that you didn't get to experience it yet, and for you to go back a second time, then you will. But going into that amphitheater, you would think people were going to see the Beatles for the first time.
yeah.
It was like we were we were like squished in there like sardines because like every single nook and cranny was filled for One Piece. And now, having said that, the negative aspect of it is operation wise, I don't think Universal was ready to know how many people were really going to go for this show. And I think they had the mindset that, oh, it's going to be like how people enter in for Waterworld. And that wasn't the case. You had people like coming from all corners, and it was like almost where it was like congestion to get through. So by the time they were starting to fill up the bleachers, people didn't know which way to go because they were filling it up, but they
Sure.
were still letting people into the area, and people didn't know where to go. So we went on one side. There was no seating left, and then we had to circle all the way around to the other side. Luckily, we did get seats for it. Um, but the operations for the show um, was was kind of mismanaged, I have to
Sure.
say, unfortunately. Then there was another aspect that was very confusing, and this was the main reason why you opted out at first to see the show, and then found out later that you really could have. So I'll let you elaborate on that part.
Sure. And to kind of go off on John's comment, and I respect his comments because John Make It Rain makes he makes some interesting comments and questions that I love to answer. And he's a supporter, not just for Hollow Gelato and Theme Park Conductor, but many others that we collab with. So a big shout out to John Make It Rain for
Absolutely. Oh, and
always.
also, really quick before you continue on, also to Chris West, it was awesome hanging out with you as well. Chris was again part of our 2 dozen people in the entourage and everything, so we got to hang out with him for the night. So that was awesome. And also, Justin, I completely agree with you to the fact of knowing how big One Piece is in Japan and internationally, and knowing the numbers of how it was for last year's Fan Fest. Yeah, I agree. Universal should have had a better operational standpoint when it came to managing guests going in and out of that theater. So I just wanted to say that. But anyway, conductor, continue.
No worries. Um, but from John's comment, my thing is, and a lot of people even said this, and I'm talking like big vloggers like Mondo, just ask or ask Danny, which is Mondo's co-host on Speculation Sundays. Um, we had other people I've talked to throughout the year that are big vloggers like Theme Park Obsession, Jake Stewart, JP Land 21, Theme Park Wizard, and so many others. The thing is with FanFest, you know, it was a brand new event last year that really opened up people's eyes to the Universal After Dark event game. Because, you know, Universal compared to Disney with After Dark events, there's a pretty significant difference. And I kind of feel with FanFest, you know, it's kind of like HHN to a point. They can kind of go outside the lines with it and get a little more edgy with it. That's why we're seeing like anime like Sailor Moon. We're seeing One Piece at Waterworld. Even the Sailor Moon character that was a mean green. We'll talk about that, you know, and her, you know, outfit that was kind of borderline not
You
park
won't see that
related.
anymore. You know, it's
Exactly. It was a little getting towards that X-rated factor, but I loved it. Um, but it was crazy though, because I kind of feel Universal could do FanFest for at least another 5 years. You know, incorporating that anime aspect to the event, which goes hard. And I do agree with Justin that Universal really shouldn't have paid attention to how popular One Piece was going to be. You know, continuing though, I don't care what event it is, whether it's FanFest, HHN, Grinchmas, um, anything that has multiple nights for an after dark event, and this goes for Disney too. It's not just Universal, but in this case, Universal has this situation where the first night's always chaos. It no matter what, it's always going to be chaos. So I think personally, Universal can do FanFest for another couple years, and hopefully it doesn't become a point where they're, you know, bringing back IPs because there's a lot to choose from that they can bring to FanFest. They can do all sorts of things. And what I like about the event as well, correct me if I'm wrong or anyone in the chat, but John Murdy himself, I think, contributes to making FanFest possible. He's not like front and center like he is with HHN, but he does contribute and you can kind of see it a little bit. So overall, I don't think it was a bad experience this year. You know, kind of just seeing from everything I saw, but you have to keep that mindset. If you're going the first night to an after dark event, you have to understand it's going to get crazy. That's just reality. You can't think it's going to go smooth. There's no way.
That is true. That is very true. And I do agree with you. I feel like if they do bring back FanFest for next year, it's going to be very um we're going to get a better understanding of the direction that they're going to go with, because if they bring the same IP back next year, that's going to be Universal's downfall, because they
Yeah,
sort of kind of did it this year
sure.
with kind of utilizing the same IP when we did the survey after last year's Fan Fest, that they gave us all this banger IP. They were like Lord of the Rings. They were like, and they did mention more anime. They mentioned I know they mentioned Shrek. That was another thing. That wasn't one of my choosings, but I mean, like, they gave like a lot of different IPs that they could have chosen, and they really didn't go that route. Um, so it's going to be very telling if they bring it back next year what they need now to get like out of doing the same kind of IP. They did sprinkle in some
Sure.
new ones this year, but I think now they're going to have to go
Well,
a different route.
okay. So I do want to say this because one thing I've been a huge advocate for, and this is kind of leaning more towards like building attractions and building lands, that the domestic parks need to stop copy and pasting things. And that's what we're kind of seeing to a point with Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. Even though Orlando is getting a similar ride, the one thing that bugs me above Oblivion is the fact that they're calling it the same name. I don't like that. I don't care for it. The reason why I bring that up, though, is because many vloggers that I communicate with, whether it's on location at the parks or I DM them on social media, is the fact that Universal Orlando doesn't have this event. And they probably won't because it's not the same relevant factor that it is here in Hollywood. So I'm hoping going forward, FanFest is exclusively for Hollywood. The reason why I bring that up, because we need different things per resort. If we're having the same type of similar things in both the West Coast, East Coast, there's no point to travel to go experience these things because then people will justify it and say, oh, well, I'm going to save money. I'll just watch it on a YouTube video. It's not enticing them to book a trip to sit there and go experience it in person. You know, that we need that type of different, you know, avenue. And that's one thing that I would like to see continue with this event. And I can't even tell you, opening night, there were a decent amount of East Coast vloggers that cover Walt Disney World, cover Universal Orlando. Me and George both saw them. They flew all the way to Hollywood just for FanFest. You know, granted, handful of them were media, but still, it was very cool to see that. And I think Universal Hollywood needs to keep that up. And Universal Orlando, does their own things. We do our own things here on the West Coast. I don't see why we need to share things. And Abby makes a great point. Again, I commend George, and I will say it to the day I die. I'm not even kidding. He planned our trip so perfectly for my first time to Universal Orlando and Walt Disney World. We got to experience not only the Flower and Garden Festival at Epcot, but we got to experience Mardi Gras. And I tell you what, the beads I was getting thrown at by people, oh my gosh. I was flashing the bling.
Bling bling.
I thought it was ridiculous. It was awesome though.
It really was. And yes, I agree with Abby. It's like, yeah, Universal Studios Hollywood doesn't do Mardi Gras.
No.
And I think because too, if you look at both events, you look at Mardi Gras and you look at FanFest, they are built completely different. Where Mardi Gras has a parade, they have like all the decorations, like they have wider streets because the parks are much bigger over on the East Coast. So they can get away with to bring a little New Orleans over to Orlando. For FanFest, it's a lot of intimate spaces.
Yeah.
You can't get that in Orlando. They would have to add so much more because, again, the parks are so wider and so bigger that it's almost like if you go on Tiana's and you see like empty spaces from point A to point B.
Definitely.
That's what it would be for FanFest if they put it over in Universal Orlando.
Okay, I'm going to tell you this. I think personally, Universal Hollywood knocked it out of the park with FanFest. The reason why, every single year, and I mean this for real, in San Diego, California, we have a little event, and I say little as a joke because it's a huge event, Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
And Universal kind of dipped their hands into a version of Comic-Con, and that's what FanFest is for Universal. And it's genius because people are cosplaying, people are networking, people are hanging out, just having a great time on these nostalgia IPs. Like last year, we had Back to the Future, we had Star Trek, we had One Piece, we had Jujutsu Kaisen in the DreamWorks Theater. We had all these different amazing IPs, Dungeons and Dragons, incredible IPs. So it's almost like a version of Comic-Con for FanFest. And I don't think Universal wants to get away from doing that. I think it's a market they can really dip in and really have just a revenue stream of printing money. You know what I mean? This is a great after dark event.
Absolutely. So Justin says, cosplay culture didn't originate in California, but we certainly welcome it first from the Japanese. I completely agree. I think honestly, we can learn a lot from the Japanese culture because I'm sorry, Japan does everything right with its theme parks, with its events, how they market and promote things. So honestly, if we have to kind of follow in wing of how Japan does it, I completely agree. I say we welcome it. Now, John, I want to, because you mentioned this up earlier on, and we didn't get it to address it yet.
Sure.
And I completely understand your concern completely. I don't think them doing FanFest would hinder them building a new ride or expanding out the park. I think honestly, it would help it in the long run because what they do with these events, they kind of beta test which IPs would work. And honestly, kind of going back to anime, I think honestly, anime is the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, we seen it with One Piece last year. We seen it with One Piece this year. Sailor Moon, like
Oh
I
my
think
god.
out of everything that we covered as content creators, the Sailor Moon content like went through the roof.
It did. Now, I wanna bring this up real quick. The One Piece show, um, is again, do I think they could have logistically done it better? Absolutely. And I'm glad that George brought up Sailor Moon because the show inside the DreamWorks Theater. And I want to give a big shout out to everybody watching this live stream, everybody that's watched all the content from FanFest in general, from all of us vloggers, not just me and George, but all of us. Um, the proof is in the pudding. Like for example, not to brag, I'm just saying like as a reference. You know, if I look at my videos, because you guys are amazing with the love and support that you all give us. Dungeons and Dragons, for example, right now I'm at 5.8 thousand views for 12 minutes of a walkthrough. Sailor Moon, I'm at 3.5 thousand views for the show. And even last year with Jujutsu Kaisen, that show, it clearly states that people enjoy anime here in the domestic United States. They enjoy it, they love it. So why not incorporate that in the more fan fest events in the years to come? But Sailor Moon, the one thing I will say logistically, the meet and greet was a little bit of a nightmare. So
Yeah.
we got in early access, um, and we went to kind of go hang out in that area because we saw that her meet and greet location was right next to the DreamWorks Theater. There was no signage, no information whatsoever. So we all started hanging out around there. And I think 2 or 3 times they had to change the different times of when she was gonna come out and meet.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
that was
originally, she was supposed to come out, um, I think it was I think it was 6. It
yeah,
said, like, it was supposed to be, like, part of the early, but then it said, like, 6:15, for her to come out. Then, yeah, a line started forming,
yeah,
'cause everyone believed that's when she was gonna come out. Then they had management come out and said, "We have to clear the area, um, and then come back around. She will be here at" what was it, 7,
yeah,
7:30 or something. So we kind of cleared back, came back around, and then he said, "Sorry, don't go by the app. It she'll be out at 8 o'clock." That's right. And yeah, Abby said originally it was 6:15 and then it went to 8 p.m. So that was like the second time that we circled back. And
yeah,
then Abby and Mademoiselle and another good friend of ours all went up to try to get in line. And they waited around and it filled up in seconds. If you're not standing literally right there at the precise time,
it's
the
crazy.
line closes in seconds. And I think, and shout out to the actress, performer, whatever you call her, for playing Sailor Moon, because they had one character actress. That
Yeah,
was it,
yeah.
doing the whole night, and I think that's what kinda hurt that, because they coulda had her out multiple times.
If they had more
Yeah,
actresses.
yeah.
And again, logistically, like I said, with HHN, FanFest, Grinchmas, any after dark event, you, you will see that the parks, whether it's Disney or Universal, run into this problem. And again, it's not that they don't try their best, excuse me, they don't try their best to plan this out accordingly. It's just sometimes they don't plan enough or they underplan. And I agree with George. having one female actress to do the entire night. They should have had multiples. Like, for example, okay, so where she was meeting, great. That's a perfect location. But a lot of the people that were waiting in the lines for to meet her, I would say at least a quarter of them were media. And they had the media event for all the vloggers and, the famous actors and actresses, whoever was there opening night in the plaza. They had it closed off. You couldn't enter the plaza without media credentials. They shouldn't have had a photo op meet and greet with her there just for media, and
Yeah.
then had another location for everybody else.
Or or actually Abby suggested it while we were there.
Sure.
They could have had another Sailor Moon character rotate too. They could have had Sailor Moon and maybe Sailor Mars or Sailor Jupiter, or
True.
have another. I do think, however, when they do, because I know for a fact Sailor Moon is going to come back.
Oh
I
yeah,
guarantee
100%.
it. Man, can you imagine if they brought all 5 of them out?
Oh, dude, people would lose it.
I mean, good gravy.
Yeah,
um,
people would lose it.
and the show that they had, I thought was just as successful as the Jujutsu Kaisen that was last year inside the Kung Fu Panda theater. I did have a comment, someone posted on my video, and I actually agree with them. They said it kind of loses points for them because they would have rather it be dubbed than subbed.
Mm,
And I can understand that. I
sure.
do see the appeal that us as fans really at some point don't care. They just have to experience the hype. But
Yeah,
I do feel like it would maybe appeal to the bigger demographic if they do dub it than
yeah,
sub.
that's true. Um, I can kind of see both sides. I can see that where people would probably flock there more if they understand what was going on. Like I mean like verbiage wise. But
Yeah.
I also see the other side of it where, a lot of the fan base, not all, but a decent chunk, they don't want to see modifications. They want to see it straight out of the box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what they did. So I get both sides. I really
Maybe
do.
honestly they could have different times to watch the sub version and the
Sure.
dub version.
Sure. No, absolutely. But overall, the One Piece, or not the One Piece, but the Sailor Moon, um, it was an absolute incredible experience. But I do agree, going forward, if you're gonna have a Sailor Moon character meet and greet, there needs to be multiple actresses that play her, so we don't run into this problem. And maybe I'm not saying it wasn't a good location, probably not the best location. It was a small little area where she was meeting. Maybe she could have been in a different area, you know what I mean, that had a bigger footprint, because once the line started forming, it was kind of hard to, navigate through that area because everyone was camped in that area. So
Mhm.
when she went on break, everyone was camping around, and when she came back out, everyone ran in the line. So that was kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
Um, I want to ask you, um, I want to ask you about the Yoshi thing,
Mhm.
because I want to leave Scooby Doo kind of towards the end because
Yeah.
that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
The Yoshi experience. What did you think about that?
So you got a hello from Spring Blossom Fairy.
Hello.
So for me, um, Yoshi, I thought was interesting because when they said that they were going to have Yoshi back again, I'm thought, okay, it's going to be kind of like the same thing that they did last year.
Sure.
I felt like they did modify it much better than what they had last year.
Yeah.
You had to participate in the Yoshi egg hunt, kind of scavenger hunt kind of thing,
Sure.
in order to meet a different colored Yoshi, and you don't know which one you were going to get. It was completely random.
Yeah.
Now they brought out all the Yoshis. They brought out the not just the green for meet and greet, but they had the purple, the blue, the yellow, and they did this kind of little little semicircle dance. I tell you what, that little hymn, that music was like addicting. Like here we are, fully grown men, and we're just like singing along to it while it's like the Yoshi chant.
Hey,
Uh,
speaking of that, well, go ahead. I'm gonna play the video, but go ahead. I'm gonna pull it
Okay,
up.
and so what was nice about it is they did their little dance, which we captured it all on camera, and then they dispersed them out into Super Nintendo to actually um, to for people to meet. So you could just get in line for them. So we ended up meeting the purple Yoshi. That was requested by mutual friend of ours. So Abby was able to get a picture. Mademoiselle, you were able to get a picture, and then after you got the picture, you had left. I think you went to another location, but then there was a group of us that got a group photo
I saw
with the
that.
purple Yoshi. So that was really cool. So I think honestly, as much as in time, I would like to see something different for Super Nintendo, kind of
Sure.
do something a little bit more immersive. I am glad that they fixed the Yoshi situation from last year. And I think that's just what's going to happen. It's going to be like each year goes by, they will fix something. So, yeah, when they beta test something, and as you had mentioned, anytime there's like the first night of something, there's
Yep.
always going to be kinks and bugs in the system.
And I want you guys to watch this because we were all huddled here. I'm not even kidding. Watch this, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Here we go. So I do have to say, like, you could see, like, literally, there was probably like, I don't know, 50 or 60 of us, and you could see all the cameras like focused in. It was ridiculous. I literally thought I was on the red carpet and like maybe like Cameron Diaz was doing a dance or something. It was ridiculous because all these cameras are focusing in. It was crazy, but oh my gosh, it was definitely awesome. I loved it, and someone actually made a comment. They said, "Well, um, they mentioned, well, there was one colored Yoshi that we didn't see." And I said, "Well, what color was that?" It was the black one. So I guess the black one was missing in action, but the mere fact they had the blue one, which they had last year, the pink one, which they had last year, but the two new colors they didn't have last year was the purple and the yellow, means that Universal and Nintendo, the collaboration, means that Yoshi is very, very and still very relevant in the parks. Because why would you make these suits in different colors if you weren't invested in it? So this was very cool. I love this. And if they bring Nintendo, type entertainment like this for future fan events, don't get me wrong, I would love to, see more of these Yoshis. But one thing I think I would love to see, like, as meet and greet characters is like Bowser Jr. or Wario or Luigi, or maybe bring Donkey Kong over. Hell, but there's a lot of characters you could choose from that.
Honestly, I think for FanFest, what another great IP character they could utilize in that realm, in that
Uh-huh.
universe,
Sure.
we actually got to see in the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and that's Star Fox.
Yes. Thank you. Oh my
Like,
god.
I think that would be
That
awesome to have as a as a meet and greet character.
Oh, by far. But I did commend Universal for doing that. All the different type of Yoshis, people posting content. It was crazy. Like, I mean, like George mentioned, we're all grown ass adults and we're acting like little children meeting them, like some of us, and it was just a fantastic thing. I loved it. So overall, like George mentioned, at first I was kind of hesitant to go in there because I thought it was going to be the same thing, and it was completely different. So big shout out to Universal for doing that for us. That was awesome. The next thing I want to kind of bring up, because it's in that general vicinity of an area, the
Mhm.
Jurassic Park show. Did you see that?
No, unfortunately, you were the only one like in our, I think, immediate group that actually caught it. But since Abby and I will be going back, I will make it my business to check that show out. I did see actually I did watch your footage.
Okay.
Um and I do want to see it in person because that was something very risky. I think when it comes time for like for a show as like not being on a stage or like and it's in an open area, but it worked. And honestly, that risk I think paid off because that like when they bring the raptors out and you have the humans trying to contain them and everything and the raptors are like scratching at them and whipping them with their tails and like I mean that looked like that's quintessential universal entertainment right there.
Oh, by
You know,
far.
you could only see that kind of stuff at, Universal. Um, but just the Jurassic Park area, I loved how they brought, um, like the original set pieces from the original Jurassic Park part of the tram. However, there were some set pieces that do show their age,
Yes.
and Universal didn't, uh,
Spruce them up.
spruce him up. Like there had like T-Rex had some cobwebs in the back of his throat and he was missing a tooth, but it's like it is what it is. But I only mention it because no one else would mention it. But if
Sure.
Disney did that, everyone would be up in arms.
Oh,
So,
sure.
what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It had to be mentioned.
E- e- exactly.
And then the characters. I mean, you had John Hammond, you had Doctor Wu, you had Ian Malcolm, you had Dennis. Um, oh my
It,
gosh,
funny.
I we yeah, Tommy Toon. Shout out to Tommy. Like he had like a great interaction with Dennis, and then also with John Hammond, we seen the first performer who was I'm gonna say built like the actual character, like John
Yeah,
Attenborough in the film. When we were walking out, they had a different actor, and you can
sure.
tell it was a different actor because he was much thinner. So I went to Tommy and I said a joke. I was like, "Dang, that Ozempic really works." And he said, "Should I go up and say that?" I was like, "I don't know if you should go up." And
Oh
sure
my
enough, Tommy,
God.
God bless him, like he went up to him and he like put on the camera. And he was like, and he made an Ozempic comment, and then the character actor just like he didn't know how to answer like with that. So
Oh my
after we
God.
were done, we just kind of said in unison, "Welcome to Ozempic Park." It's
It was so funny. I wasn't with George and all that when that happened, but when I heard it and Tommy told me, oh my God, I lost it. What a perfect line. That's something like I would say. So he
yeah,
took it right out of conductor's book and literally just threw it out there. Him and George both. It was hilarious.
yeah, it was. And as I said, it was the Jurassic Park like the best area, like in comparison to like One Piece or Sailor Moon. Um, I would say it was like one step up from the Yoshis, just because of the immersiveness. But I would say
Sure.
for what they had and the space that they had, I thought they did quite well.
100%. And I will say this for the Jurassic Park area. I do agree with George. Very risky, but it paid off. Like George mentioned, they had the original archway. They built an original archway that said Jurassic Park. They had different photo ops. They had the Raptor show, which was absolutely incredible. I enjoyed it. I even sent the video to my dad, and he's like, "This is freaking awesome. This is like really cool." And then that whole experience being that close to Jurassic World, I'm glad they brought back that original IP. I loved it. Um, and how can you go wrong with the classic characters like George mentioned, Hammond, Doctor Malcolm? You had Dennis, dude. So many people were messing with Dennis. It was hilarious. As I think I don't know. I think the original Dennis in Jurassic Park was funny, but this guy interacting with like SoCal tall guy and oh my god, the interactions were hilariously funny.
And I think the character of Dennis could stretch out a little bit more
Oh
because
yeah.
in the movie, you're right, he had such a limited amount of screen time
Uh-huh.
that they had to fill in the gaps.
Sure.
So he can kind of go out of the boundaries of like what was mentioned in the film and
Sure.
have a little bit more fun with it.
Oh, definitely. No, 100%. So overall, I give the Jurassic Park experience a thumbs up. That was
Mhm.
it really kind of brought me back to my childhood, so I really did enjoy that. The next thing I want to talk about, and I actually have the video up. Um, I muted it, but I want to share my screen for everybody that hasn't or that has seen it, but maybe we can kind of dive into it.
Mhm.
It's the Forbidden Forest experience. So we this experience here got one of the longest lines I've ever seen for a walkthrough attraction
Mhm.
that's not HHN related. It was crazy. I think the longest the wait time was like 190 minutes. It was insane. But
Luckily, we got in it at a decent time. It was only a 45-minute wait.
yeah, that was not bad. And one of the things I love, again, I commend Universal. Um, they used the extended outdoor queue for Forbidden Journey, and
Which was genius. I can't believe
that's
how they did that. That
yeah,
is very creative, and that's how you can take a limited space and utilize it for something else, because when you think of a queue line, you're like, "Well, we can't do nothing with this because this is part of the attraction." But
yeah,
they knew, and I think that that's too why the line was backed up, because they had to cut off certain sections where you could actually stand in extended queue for the ride and utilize it moving backwards to
yeah.
go into this walkthrough attraction.
And I've said for years, I've said, and others have said that this outdoor queue never gets used. Like, I mean, it's pretty much abandoned. So I love that Universal used this area for this experience. And as you guys can see, we actually had our own professor. Each group had their own professor walking through the forest, kind of keeping you safe. And there were some great elements in this. The one thing I will say that I wish was a little bit different was they only took 15 people per group. I think that's what backed up the line so
Mhm.
much a
And
lot
I
of the
think
time.
too, I misunderstood like what the experience was. Like I thought it was like you're kind of like free roaming.
Yeah,
This is more of a storyline where you have like a guided tour, like a tour guide, so to speak, that moves you along. And yeah, and I think that's why they needed to do small groups. But I agree with you. The small group is what backed the attraction up for sure.
no, 100%. And then to answer real quick, Chris's comment, a Samuel Jackson character would have been awesome because he actually played he had a little bit bigger role than Dennis, and I thought he was great. Him and Dennis in the movie were like the collab
I
between
think
them.
honestly, just getting a Samuel L. Jackson impersonator would
Oh,
be
dude,
hilarious enough.
100%.
I like, and if they ever wanted to go ballsy, if they got an impersonator of his character on the movie Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, geez.
I think you all know what I'm getting at, but yeah, that would be really risky
Oh
when
my
it comes to
God.
the dialogue.
Oh, 100%. So again, going back to this, what you guys are seeing on screen right now, the teacher actually has like that tarantula book, and you saw that on what was it? It was it Order of the Phoenix? No, 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 no. It was
Prisoner of Azkaban.
yeah, dude, that I love that. And it was fully interactive. Like he was making sound effects, all this stuff. It was really, really cool.
The props were really well done.
Oh, by
My
far.
only con to it, I would have loved to see more.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see more like mystical creatures, like even if it's like briefly, just like throughout. There was like a lot of dead spacing in between that I
There
would have loved to have like seen just a little bit more.
there was. And like this scene coming up, we're gonna actually see it right now. It's kind of like an area where they had like cobwebs and stuff, and that kind of reminds you of like the spiders and all that. And they only had one little spider, plop down. I would have liked to see like a couple of them. That would have been kind of cool to see that, or see like Aragon as an animatronic or some type of puppet. That would have been really cool to see.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been dope. But again, for the space they had, I'm not gonna lie, they utilized the space very well. I mean, like very well. So I do commend Universal for what space they utilized for this walkthrough attraction. You can see the spider right there, but it was only one little spider. I wish it was like a couple of them coming down at once, or Aragon popping out of the bushes or something. That would have been very cool. And I'm actually going to skip ahead because there's a part. Oh, here we go. So we had this character. This was pretty cool.
The aesthetics and the makeup
Oh,
is
dude.
impressive with this centaur.
Yeah, this centaur was awesome. I wish they wouldn't have had like maybe a couple of them, because you see in the movies there's like
Yeah, they travel in packs.
yeah, in packs. So I wish they had like maybe two or three more of them, kind of just they didn't have to talk. They just had to be like front and center, and then have one of them talking like we saw here. That would have been really, really cool. But one of the things I want to show you guys, because it was very impressive, and I'm actually going to play the audio for it. I'm just skipping through here. Here we go. So we're going to walk through, and I want you guys to see this because this was literally genius here. Here we go.
Find the tendrils. They will ensnare anything that brushes past them. Oh no! Oh, come on then, quickly, everyone!
And I have to say, the performer, he did it really well done.
Find the devil's
Definitely.
snare. We don't want another victim caught in the forest. Oh goodness, Fleetwing, I promise we will have this taken care of in just a moment. Gather around, everyone. Make sure we spread out so that we can get all of our friends into this area. It will take all of us to free Fleetwing, I'm sure of it. Oh, Fleetwing, I promise we'll have this taken care of. Come in, friends. Oh no, Fleetwing is trapped in those ruins. I can't do this alone. Perhaps if we all cast Lumos Salem together. Yes? Point your wands at the devil's snare and hold your ground on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Lumos Salem! Marvelous! Oh, and you know the problem with.
So, George, I have to ask you straight off the bat, what do you think of Buckbeat here?
Very impressive. Like the to watch it on screen doesn't really do it justice. I mean, this massive, I don't know, puppet slash animatronic, because I think it feels like it has like a little bit of like a hybrid. I mean, was massive.
Oh, it's
Um,
huge.
but yeah, I mean, it was done very well. I would hate to have them dismantle it, like just to
I know.
utilize this for FanFest, because honestly, as you mentioned earlier, this is a space that is not utilized. So what if they just kind of kept everything there and
That
they
was
could just
cool.
utilize it? Because for FanFest, and I know we got done saying about like repeating, but this is something I would be okay with repeating because it's a space that can't be utilized really for anything else but Harry Potter. So they can up things and maybe change some creatures, change some storylines, but I would essentially just keep everything that was utilized for this space there.
100%. And actually, I would even go a step further if they're not going to utilize this space. Um, because since the land opened, um, over what, 10 years ago, it, this queue has hardly ever been used. This outdoor queue for Forbidden Journey. Um, I wouldn't mind them just keeping the experience all year round. That would be really cool. Or even if they have to move Buckbeat, move them somewhere in the land where it's a meet and greet, and you have like Hagrid as a meet and greet character with Buckbeat. That would be really cool.
That would be cool. The only thing when it comes to the main characters that's in the clause from Rowling herself that she does not want the characters as any kind of meet and greet.
I know that's kind
And
of
that's why she ended actually the collaboration with Disney, because Disney wanted those meet and greets and she was like, "Hell no."
well, see, that this is what cracks me up though. So I wonder how Universal got around that ruling, because obviously a hippogriff, that's obviously Buckbeat.
Yeah.
No one's
I think when it comes time to the creatures and being fully immersive, I think that's different. I think it was more of the facial.
oh, okay. So like Hagrid and Harry and stuff.
And the reason why this character was okay was because he is basically created from Universal. It wasn't like a mainstream character.
Okay, so you could still have it though. Like if you had Buckbeat in an
Oh yeah,
area.
you will have Buckbeak, and you could have the guy,
Yeah.
the tour guide, like kind of like talking to Buckbeak and talking and interacting with the guests. Oh, absolutely, I agree with you. And honestly, I was actually going to say that myself. Just have this as a year-round kind of thing to be utilized. So Justin says, I will give full heartfelt credit and respect to the performers, craft persons, and puppeteers who put this whole thing on, but I just can't get behind the IP. And honestly, there's a lot of people who don't.
Yeah.
Um, or they kind of are burnt out of Potter. And
Yeah.
I want to ask everyone else in the chat and conductor, you as well. Do you
Sure.
think, and I think Remy D was the one that asked this also, I think. It was Remy D or someone in our last live, and we didn't get to it. So I'll ask this now. Do you think that the Potter craze or the Potter mania, do you think it's being a little bit overdone by Universal? Not just this, like for FanFest, but just in general in their theme parks?
Um, that's an excellent question, by the way. Um, I kind of feel with Universal's success on many IPs, including Potter, I think it's not as worn out as people think it is. The only reason I say that, you have the HBO series coming out. You have the fact that they're building another attraction for Epic Universe for Potter. You have this Fan Fest attraction walkthrough. I don't think it's as stretched out as people think. Like I said, like people think it is. So I think it's still completely relevant. And the one thing, the one thing I'm going to say about it is you already have the land there. So why not like choose different experiences, different, things from the movies that you can incorporate into the land to keep it relevant. And I think that's genius. I think when Universal built these lands, both here in Hollywood and in Orlando, they put enough in there to get people interested for years and years and years, and then slowly started adding things to keep it relevant. And they still have a lot they can pull from the Potter films to incorporate into the lands, to keep them relevant and to keep them kind of like fresh and not stale, if that makes sense. So do I think that the Potter craze is over? Not really. I think it's still there. Maybe it's not the bright beacon it used to be, but it's still there. And the
Okay. Well
and,
said.
and we're still seeing it again throughout the theme parks. Like I said, this experience, you have a new attraction being built at Epic Universe. You have the HBO series. Um, and then I think they did meet and greet characters in Universal Japan with Buckbeat and all these other characters. So I don't think it's as dead as people want it to be or think it is.
Okay. Yeah. I could definitely see. I mean the demographic still shows as far as this, because I mean 135 190-minute wait. I mean, I would have loved, though, when they said that you can bring your wands. It
Yeah,
would have been a little bit more interactive if someone
sure.
did bring their wand. It was more so like,
The teacher was doing it.
yeah, it was like you could just use your hand, or as like he said, use your mind, the magic inside your mind. Like, I wish they actually had like physical things that a wand could interact with. Uh,
Sure.
that would have been cool. I mean, we didn't have our wands, but I mean, I just think that would have
Just
amped
in
up
general.
the um the uh the immersiveness. But as I said, to the centaur, to Buckbeak, done very well, very well. It um was done. Now, I wanted to ask you, and I think we went through all the IPs. Now, getting to the the crown jewel that was going to be driving this force this year of
Sure.
FanFest was the Scooby Doo and the classic Universal monsters down on the back lot where you take the tram down. And this time it wasn't going to Hill Valley like they did for Back to the Future, obviously, but it took us to the Little Europe area where
Sure.
they actually filmed the classic Universal monster films way back when.
Yeah.
So I have some pros and cons to this. I thought it was clever that they utilized the intertwining of both IPs.
Yes.
Um, However, I feel like that it was kind of overdone with the stimulation, because what they had us doing was we had to solve the mystery, which is fine. That's what you do with Scooby Doo and
Sure.
the Mystery Inc. gang. So, but the fact that they kind of gave us homework, we had like a little
Yeah.
packet and we had to walk around. I felt like it was like lost in translation because they had so many people down there, and they had certain sections where you get the clue and you have to write it in to solve like who this character's background is and who it's like. It's just too much. I wish they already kind of like had the formula for us already done,
Yeah.
and we just follow the characters along
Yeah.
and have them pick up the clues and we're watching it. I think it was great that it was interactive, but I felt like it was a little bit too interactive.
Yeah.
Does that
So
make
I
sense?
I I, I kind of feel on that aspect, I kind of feel like it was overthought. Like, I mean, like overcomplicated. I see the direction they were trying to go with, so I'm not dogging them for that. It's just because we even see it with Disney with Galaxy's Edge with the Millennium Falcon. You
Mhm.
know, aesthetically, the ride is beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of people, not everybody, but a decent amount of people, they don't really hit that attraction when they go in the Galaxy's Edge because it's kind of like you're not you're enjoying the experience, but you're working for it instead of
Yes,
just
yes.
being being like immersed and just sitting there and enjoying the atmosphere. You're actually working for it. And that's kind of what I felt with the Scooby-Doo thing. I love George's idea. I kind of wish they had the formula worked out and Scooby-Doo and the gang would take like a big group, like maybe like 40 or 50 of us, and we would follow them throughout the little Europe, solving the clues and whatnot. And then at the very end, they capture the monster and they unveil him to all of us. And it's like that type of experience. They went in a different direction, and for the most part, it was really cool because they had all the Universal characters. They had Frankenstein, they had the Bride of Frankenstein, they had Wolfman, they had Dracula roaming around. So that was really cool. But there was some interesting food, and I'm going to let George take it away because he actually tried it. And what was interesting about this, good friend of both our channels, because he hung out with us pretty much all night, was Universal High.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his friend actually got this item, and they actually asked George, "Do you want to try it?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll try it." But George, take it away.
Yeah, so Tommy Toon and I were really hyping up this particular food item. We didn't try any of the food, believe it or not. None of us did. And that's another main reason why I want to go back to FanFest to kind of like focus on the food and everything and see some of the things that I didn't get to see the first night. However, one of the main core items I really wanted to try was the saggy sandwich, which is basically like a tower sandwich that is like topped with an olive, and it had like 5 pieces of bread holding it together with ham and turkey and lettuce and tomato, and they also top it off with potato chips. And I thought, okay, that's my kind of sandwich. I love a good hearty sandwich. So Universal High and his friend come over to our table. They had the sandwich. They wrapped it in a baggie, first of all. So now, if anyone knows how that works, when you have a sandwich wrapped in a bag for hours and hours,
Oh,
what gets
God.
into it? Moisture.
Yeah.
And what happens when moisture gets into the bag? This is the simple logic of physics. The sandwich gets soggy. So the sandwich went from this high to this high. It just like it shrunk. It was like conductor's bread pudding with the ice cream when he was waiting.
So George, pull up this picture real quick. This is what it was supposed to look like. So think of this. We're on the back lot in the little Europe set. So you know how tall this is? Think about half that size, but as soon as we got it out of the bag, it went from this to half the size. But George, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So Universal High and his friend tried it. They did not like it. And
No.
I was kind of like very inquisitive, and I was asking them questions. Well, why is that? Like, does it taste like this? Like, what you can compare it to? And Universal High's friend, he and his friend both agreed that it tasted like hospital food. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So after they ate because they basically dissected it because it was so big that, Universal High took a piece, his friend took a piece, and there was like leftover sandwich.
Eat it.
So they had said, you can try it if you like to. And I thought, okay, that's cool. So I turned my camera on because I'm like, I have to get this on camera. And I didn't release it yet. I do have to, I'll probably like release it as a short first and then put it into the main vlog. But I tried the sandwich, conductor recorded me. And then also Universal High and his friend also recorded me as well. And I said, I don't think it tastes like hospital food. I feel like that it's a downgrade from that. And they were just like all laughing because it was so dry. It had no flavor. Like they didn't even manage to like put like any kind of like mustard or mayo or
Oh
something to give it
gosh.
some substance, something. It was just it had no flavor. It reminded me of those school lunch sandwiches they used to pack in those paper bags for us
Oh
when we go on field
god.
trips.
Oh god.
I hated those things.
Oh my
But
god.
$23 for that sandwich. And I'm like, and it actually said that Universal actually made that sandwich. And I'm like, Universal really wants to put their name on that they made it. I'm like, that's what catering is at Universal. I hope that the celebrities that go there, they get better food than that, because
Yeah.
like that
That
was ridiculous. But you had picked us up
the Scooby-Doo
The
snacks.
Scooby snacks, which also, shout out to Conductor for picking those up, and also Tommy for treating us all with the Scooby snacks. I thought they were done really well. They were in the little Scooby Doo snack box. It came with several cookies, which was basically a giant size version of like a ginger snap cookie. I loved the one with the paw print on it, and because it was chocolate in the center. Um, it was really good.
And you got Tommy Toon World there with Shaggy um trying out the Scooby snack. So the box itself was really well themed. Like, I mean, I think that was the highlight of the food right there. Now, we didn't try. There was this, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even fantasizing this. It was probably like this long of a hot dog. And I'm very curious what that one it tasted like. But everyone was going for the Scooby snacks.
Yeah, honestly, to be honest with you, I'm not a hot dog kind of person by all means, unless it's a dirty dog or a street dog, as you
Sure.
guys call them out here. But I have a feeling that probably tasted much better than that sandwich. Um, because
100%.
you could smell it on the grill. It smelled really good.
It did.
We
It
honestly, we all should have like just chipped in,
and
and
just
we
got
all
it.
should have just tackled the hot dog.
That would have been cool. Because I kind of feel like it would have been great. And again, that's something we can definitely do. Me and George, because I think me and him can tackle it. It's a lot of food, but I think we could do it. It had a lot of topping on it, so it's not like you're just getting a bun and a dog. So there's a lot more to it. So I'm definitely intrigued to try it. But I do want to give a big shout out to Tommy Toon World, because not just, you know, hanging out with him in the parks, but his food reviews, as you guys just saw with Shaggy. Like, I mean, this guy goes above and beyond with his food reviews, whether it's with the characters or it's with, one of us doing the food review with him. It's incredible to see him in action on location doing these food reviews. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. And I definitely encourage everybody to go check him out on Instagram, on all social media platforms, and YouTube, because this guy is just phenomenal with
He
food.
really is. His work is done very eloquently, and he's very passionate. And
Very.
he has fun with it, but he takes it very serious to bring you guys, the utmost high standard of content. So yeah, definitely check him out and go show him um, some love. Now, when it came time for the actual experience for Scooby Doo, unfortunately, I didn't really get anything, to be honest with you.
I
Um,
didn't.
so I didn't really cover a lot down there. I was just what I loved? I loved just being down walking
Yes.
in Little Europe.
Yes.
That to me was the highlight. They didn't even have to add any IP. Just take us down to the Little Europe area,
Oh,
and
dude.
I'm good to go.
Well,
Now, I will say with the Universal monsters,
sure.
I liked how they had them free roaming around. I thought that was a better fit because that's where they filmed.
Yes.
I liked the Scooby Doo aspect, but I felt like combining the two hurt the Universal monsters in a sense, because it felt
Really?
like, even though that they were part of the storyline,
Sure.
I felt like they kind of got diminished by the IP of Scooby-Doo.
I I kind of feel, and I know you have more to say. I kind of feel if they wanted just went Universal monsters and nothing else, people would say, "Well, why don't you guys have this for Halloween Horror Nights?" So I kind of feel like they sprinkled in the Scooby Doo thing that kind of balanced that out.
Do you think that they should have? Do
What?
you think if they would have removed the Universal monsters
Uh-huh.
and they just did Scooby-Doo and have like the masked the phantom director or whatever
Yeah.
and it was more based off of that storyline, keep the classic Universal monsters out of it,
Uh-huh.
but utilize them in the Little Europe area for HHN. Will you think that would have been a better fit?
I think it would have been a better fit if they did that. Like, I mean, like when you watch the original Scooby-Doo cartoons, right? And you have the monsters and they unveil the person behind the mask in those cartoons. I kind of feel like if they pulled characters from that genre and incorporated it in this experience instead of using the Universal monsters, it could have worked. I see why they did the Universal monsters, don't get me wrong, but I kind of feel like it's like a catch-22. Could they have done that? Yes. Could they have not done that? Well, obviously they did. So they it's kind of hard to say. Like I said, if they would have not had Scooby-Doo incorporated in it and it was just the Universal monsters, then people would be saying, "Why don't you have this for HHN?" And I kind of feel like they had access to this area because for years now, since COVID, the metro sets have been closed to Halloween Horror Nights. And that's why Halloween Horror Nights hasn't been big in years, pre-COVID, or after COVID, because when COVID hit, it messed up a lot of the filming schedule for the lower lot. So for years now, the studio has been trying to catch up with their filming, but with everything going on, in Southern California and just California in general, with movie productions kind of just diminishing because of the taxes and the fees and everything.
Did you
Red
hear
tape.
about a lot of movies that are being enticed to be filmed in California again because
Yes.
the tax breaks on them?
Well, it's funny you mention that because I read something online where California is actually begging, and I mean like almost on their hands and knees to have these movie productions film in California because we've seen, you know, productions move to other states, other countries because of the tax breaks, because of how much cheaper they can make it in a different state or a different country, compared to, being in California and Los Angeles, San Diego, and vice versa. So I've seen something like that, but I think that's why this experience for the Scooby Doo thing was not on the metro sets and it was in the little Europe area because of that reason.
Mhm.
But it made sense though, because anyone that's gone to Universal for Halloween Horror Nights, before COVID happened, we got to experience the metro sets. Um, Nobody, and I mean nobody from the general public has ever like stepped foot on the European sets or little Europe sets unless you were a VIP tour or you're in the industry, checking out film locations, or you have a connection on the studio lot and you're riding around with them in the golf cart. So I think this was a perfect experience. Does the Scooby-Doo and Universal Monsters collab really work how they maybe planned it? I'm sure they wanted it to, and obviously there's some tweaks that could have happened and didn't happen. So I get what they were going for, but like George said right from the beginning, and I even said it, I think people's mindset is not to pay to go to an event to kind of work for your experience. It's more like you're paying to go into an event to experience the offerings that the event has, not that you have to work for it, even though it's, like an IP type theme based. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Now, let me ask you this, because they had 4 suspects that's part of the storyline. And you and I know who the main culprit is behind the shenanigans, who's behind the mask of the Phantom director. Do you think, now again, I don't know, because I'm very curious to see, going back a second time, if they do change to kind of change it up, because I feel like one of the downfalls is when you have the same storyline, it's very predictable. It's
Sure.
kind of like once you do it, it's like a one and done.
Yeah.
I wonder if, now again, I had mentioned this before, but I think they would have to change like the pamphlets, the booklets that they give us, and this is why they shouldn't have went this route, because they kind of barricaded themselves into like landlocking themselves. I think it would have been really cool that if they just stuck with us following Scooby and the gang in the storyline, they could have had a different culprit each night.
100%.
So it would change up the storyline a little bit. It would change the clues. It would change. But for us having a physical booklet and they have it already printed out, that, once you solve the mystery, are you really going to go back down and redo the whole thing all over again? It's like,
well, 100%. And I do want to commend Universal as well, because printing those booklets, that's an expense they kind of took on their own. Because when you look at physical, like stuff like that, like booklets, maps, a lot of that stuff has just gone the way of the dodo, because it's just cheaper to have it on like an app. So I do commend Universal for doing that. But I agree with you, having the experience, tied to a booklet where you're solving the mystery, it's always going to be the same thing. And they can't change it without either getting the new booklet, which I don't think they're going to do, or just not have the booklet in general. I kind of feel the same way you do. They kind of landlocked themselves with that. But again, overall, the experience was awesome. The vibes, oh my gosh. I literally got the vibes like I got with Back to the Future. Once we all got down there, like everybody was down there. Like, I mean, we were all down there. A lot of the content creators, Jake Stewart, Theme Park Obsession, Mondo, a lot of the Florida vloggers, we were all just down there hanging out and just having a grand old
that's
time.
what gave me the great vibe. What it didn't do was give me the goosebumps, hair standing up on my arms, and trust me, I have a lot of hair on my arms. Feeling that Back to the Future gave, because I felt like Back to the Future was such a nostalgic classic movie to actually be standing not even on the back lot, but actually where they filmed.
Yeah.
Was just something in itself. And I felt like I would have gotten that if it was more focused on the classic Universal monsters than Scooby-Doo. Because it would have been, if I would have been focused just on the monster aspect, and that's why I thought that it would do better for HHN, then I could say, you know what? We're standing in Little Europe. This is HHN. This is the time of the monsters. This is the time of the creatures. We're reliving actually history. Where Boris Karloff was, filming and all these great people that were part of the classic Universal monsters. I felt like it kind of got taken away from me utilizing Scooby-Doo with it, but that's just me. I think the bigger demographic would have leaned towards, kind of like a hybrid with Scooby-Doo and the classic monsters. Me just being like a film nerd, and a theme park nerd, like the demographic for us is like very short, than the bigger demographic of fans.
100%. I think I commend Universal for what they did, and I'm not shooting them down by any means necessary because this was a very unique, interesting experience. Um, but I kind of felt, you know, it was more of an experience where everyone kind of just like got together and hung out and kinda just enjoyed the atmosphere of the area with the
Than
Scooby-Doo
the actual, like
monsters, yeah.
yeah. No.
So I think it went that direction, which is nothing wrong with it, you know, because again, there was probably on the Little Europe set, if I had to guess, there was probably maybe about 800 to almost 1,000 people back there just hanging out. There was a lot of people, so it definitely was a hit by every means necessary, and there was a lot of content that came out. Not for our channels as much, but for other channels, like I mean, like for social media content, it was kind of hard to film like an actual video of it
Yeah.
because you know you're thinking it's one thing and then it turns out to be another.
Mhm.
I do like that they had the Universal monsters walking around and whatnot. I do like that they had Scooby Doo and the gang kind of walking around, hanging out. Um, and the food was very interesting. Like I said, the sandwich was kind of disappointment.
The
In that,
sandwich was janky.
yeah,
Not
this,
not now, not to be confused with Velma saying jinkies. No, it
yeah,
wasn't jinkies, it was janky.
janky. The Scooby Doo snacks though were a definite hit.
That
That
was it.
hot that hot dog, I definitely want to try it.
Mhm. And I
But
will say the only other thing that I was slightly disappointed about with one of the monsters was the Wolfman.
yeah,
I felt like the costume was very generic,
uh-huh,
especially when it came time to the face.
sure.
Because what they did with the centaur in Harry Potter, with
Oh
the
yeah,
prosthetics and the makeup, that's what they should have did with the Wolfman. I felt like it was kind of lackluster with that. But again, that's just me nitpicking. But also, big shout out and thank you to friends of ours, friends of the channel, Chris West and Jason Hill, because they actually were able to snab express passes for this event
oh
while they were
nice.
waiting to get inside. Universal gifted the first 10 people that was in line express passes for the Scooby-Doo Universal Monster event area to utilize throughout the night. So shout out to them and a big thank you to them because they were part of the first 10 waiting in line.
Yeah,
And so we were able to join them to kind of skip ahead of the regular line.
100%. And you know, to kind of tie it off with the Scooby Doo experience, the lighting package was insane. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
the projections, the music, the little just overall, it was that part of it was it hit for me. It was literally awesome. Um, and then they actually had kind of like a light show before you got to the Little Europe set. So the monster wall that you pass on the studio tour during the day,
That was very impressive.
that was really cool. The lighting package and all that was literally was, you know, some voice acting and, you know, lights. That's all it was, but they made it work and it was impressive.
That
Um,
was very well done. And
oh,
especially because it tied to like the art of how it was painted
uh-huh.
and the lighting mixed with it. It
Yes.
kind of gave it this kind of like
See if I can find it.
techno psychedelic kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Just really cool.
No, it was really honestly very cool. And then I want to share this real quick. This was from Dungeons and Dragons. This was another walkthrough attraction we had at the event. It
Mhm.
was kind of a little bit different. Not too much different from last year's, but a little bit different.
And I will say this, even though that it was basically still the same. I absolutely love this walkthrough attraction. The
Yeah.
the attention to detail of what Universal does with this, and the massive puppetry that is used, the characters that's utilized, the visual effects, the special effects, it's done with taste. And I
100
can see why they brought it back again, because I think honestly it was just very popular.
100%. So I'm gonna play the little snippet that George just talked about, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. And I want to kind of get your gist of, what Universal does with not just FanFest and the puppetry and the just the acting in general, but how they really immerse fans into the storyline. If you want to read that comment real quick.
Yep, and Justin says, and you need to bring things back again for those people who couldn't make it the first time. And I absolutely agree with that.
100%. But here we go.
I really want to touch it. I really want to touch it really bad. Evie, I found the correct stuff. Whatever you do, keep far away from Xanathar's fish. Synagogue, those areas protected. If you see a fish, don't touch it. Any signs of Xanathar? Does anybody have eyes on Xanathar?
Steal from Xanathar. No, no, no. Disintegrate. Xanathar is the rightful owner of the Dragon Staff. But don't worry, I'll make sure your deaths are quick. Do you really think you can steal from Xanathar and live to tell the tale? It's time to take a deep, permanent sleep. No! My baby!
Quick! Mission Mockery! Now!
So just the mere fact that they can have a puppet this big, in a walkthrough attraction, it's pretty damn impressive.
It is, and honestly, I'm so glad to see my ex-mother-in-law fun work.
There's joke number one for the night. Oh my god! Oh, I love these.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's very impressive that they utilize something this grand, this big, for a temporary walkthrough for an event. And honestly, for how expensive it probably was to have this, that's probably another reason why they utilize it a second time. It's like, why just have it for a one and done? Let's utilize it for another year. Seeing something like this, you know what it kind of reminds me of? Something that was created by like the Jim Henson Creature Shop that Jim Henson used to make for like his movies for like the Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal kind of thing. So it's very impressive.
No, by far. And this is just one of many examples how Universal can really just pull this off, because we've seen puppetry like this at this type of scale for HHN for a house.
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Monstrous was very well known for these kind of puppets.
Oh, 100%. And
there you go. It was created by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. So that
there you go. See, Justin's on top of it tonight. I love it. But again, it's one thing to see it on screen. I'm actually pretty happy with the quality, because I didn't think the quality was going to turn out as good as it did. So the quality looks amazing on camera, but
it really does. Yeah, I think again the lighting package works really well. It's kind of dark and mysterious, but it's enough light to kind of let you see what you're looking at. But I remember last year when I first took a glimpse in person of that massive puppet. I was like gobsmacked, like to say like this is impressive.
Oh, by far. And let me ask you some. I know this was only supposed to be fan fest related, but you know, as many of you probably know in the chat, in the comments, when me and George get on camera, just because the video is supposed to be about one subject, we kind of jump all over the place. But you know, after all the years you experiencing um after dark events at
Mhm,
Disney,
mhm.
have you ever, and I mean ever, seen anything to the grand scale of something like this or even close to this for an after dark event for Disney?
No,
Ever?
no, nothing like on this scale, like with like a massive like audio animatronic or a puppetry, that's utilized just for the after hours event. I feel like Disney and Universal have two very different vibes when it comes to their like marketing brand of like after hour events. I do feel like that Disney does miss a lot of that Universal kind of picks up.
Sure.
Hopefully in time Disney can. I will say the recent Disney Channel night was done really well.
Yeah.
But it fit that demographic because I think something of this nature with Dungeons and Dragons, it fits Universal's realm really well. I think honestly, if Disney did this, I know they probably wouldn't do this particular IP, but something like
Sure.
this, I feel like it would be kind of taken out of context but they do it in Disney's format.
100%.
Like if they had like a massive puppet of like they did something with the Disney villains where they had like a massive puppet of Maleficent as the dragon or Jafar as the cobra snake, that would be really cool.
That would be dope, but continue. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's just it. I think this fits more in the realm for Universal anyway. And again, I like that. I like how it's two different vibes, two different feels done two different ways because I want Disney to succeed. I want Universal to succeed. I want them to kind of learn and take off from each other, but I still want them to do their own thing.
100%. And actually, John Make It Rain says Disney should do this instead of Oogie Boogie. I'm not a fan of calling it that.
And really, John, I think the issue with Oogie Boogie is something that we have talked about earlier. It is so repetitive. They
Yes.
need something more. And I agree with you. If they brought a massive puppet of Maleficent as the dragon or Jafar as the snake or maybe a giant size Ursula or something,
Yeah.
give us something spectacular. Give us something more than just okay, here's like the walk through tree trails, which are cool. It's
Sure.
good because of the young kids and the families. And Disney's not going to go full on scary, but they could still do something impressive.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
Oh,
Now,
and really quick, hold your question. Don't forget it. Shout out to David giving us shout outs. Welcome in, David. Always glad to see you.
always great to see David. So let me ask you this because I don't want to dive too deep into this because again, this is a fan fest related video. But the Hollywood backlot, because obviously it's going through a crisis right now between trying to figure out if we're putting Avatar, putting Zootopia, or putting something else completely different in that land. But that land has two massive sound stages. Two massive sound stages. And you have Oogie Boogie Bash, right?
Right.
What if they did like, what if they did like a walkthrough attraction like Dungeons for Oogie Boogie Bash?
Yeah. I would really honestly
Utilize that space.
utilize that space and that would fit into the Hollywood realm.
Yes.
And again, I'm going to sound like a repeated Paul Parrot with all this, and that actually brings up a good point. And honestly, it still kind of sticks with the fan fest because we're talking about after hour events. So it
Sure.
still falls into that realm. So here's the thing. When you put Avatar in there,
Yeah.
when they do Oogie Boogie, that stretch of real estate in the park is
Sure.
utilized for the parade.
Yeah.
When they put Avatar there, depending on how the transition is going to work,
Sure.
are they keeping Avatar open for Oogie Boogie? Like, because Avatar isn't really part of that
Halloween.
kind of thing. Like, sort of like how they closed down Galaxy's Edge when
Sure.
they have like the after hour events, because Star Wars is a different universe, and so is going to be Avatar. And I know James Cameron is not going to want a tree trail going through Pandora.
No, God, no. No.
But how is that going to look that if they still utilize the parade and then there's Pandora? Like, I just don't.
Well, okay. This is interesting. And again, I know we're going off subject, but I'm okay with that. I'm literally okay with it.
You know, this is how we do it.
That's how we do it. One thing I would like to see, if you're gonna do like Oogie Boogie Bash, right?
Mhm.
And like that's what's kind of missing from Pandora in Animal Kingdom. Like I thought I was gonna see some villagers roaming around the land, kind of like that kinetic energy type feel like we were supposed to get with Galaxy's Edge. And
Mhm.
we're slowly starting to see that.
Because we
What
were promised that with Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
We weren't
Perfect.
promised that with Pandora, because I feel like
No.
James Cameron kind of has that same J.K. Rowling vibe when it comes to
Sure.
Potter, is they really didn't want their characters, like where you meet Natiri and you
Yeah.
get a selfie with her. Like, that isn't what he envisioned. Although I know Peter probably would want that, but like,
I would, you know what? It's funny because I would like that. You know, if you build, okay, so if you build Avatar, right, in that space during an event like Oogie Boogie Bash, you could do something like that where you have the villagers and you have some of the creatures roaming around the land for an after dark event. So you kind of sell it as a selling point, and you can only see those type of characters during like special event nights, and
yeah,
throughout the year you don't get to see that. So that's kind of like an added bonus. That's kind of what I feel Universal did with Harry Potter, because when you look at Harry Potter, you can't see the buckbeat during the day. You can't see them.
right.
Just like you couldn't see the creatures that they had from Fantastic Beasts last year with FanFest. You can only see it at the event. So it was a selling point. So what if both Universal and Disney went that direction, where they have a land and they kind of add special characters and special, opportunities that you don't get during the day, kind of like what Disney does with their events, but at an elevated scale. Like, I mean, like for Galaxy's Edge, right? For Star Wars night. And you've heard me say this a million times, and I'll say it a million more times. Get rid of all the characters that they have in Tomorrowland, move them to Galaxy's Edge. Like, how cool would it be if you had, for example, for Star Wars nights, you had Palpatine walking with Darth Vader throughout the land and kind of contemplating it. And then you had like the squadrons of stormtroopers roaming the land. So instead of two of them, there was like maybe like six of them in a pack roaming around the land. Or you had Palpatine roaming the land with his guards, or you had Jedi characters meeting up trying to figure out a plan, or you had Yoda kind of in an area. What if like for Avatar, or what if for like experiences like for FanFest, like they did with Harry Potter, but like they did with the Yoshis and all that, but for future lands they kind of add that extra, how can I put it, the extra incentive to buy a ticket to go see that. It's something that you can't see during the day, that you can only see it at the event. Do you think both parks should go in that direction? A
I
lot more.
think so, because it would allow them to have an excuse to have an after hours event. I
Yeah.
think honestly it would be, but I also feel like at the same time it cripples what they can do in the daytime,
Mm,
because if they utilize that and they're getting
true.
extra charged for a premium for that,
True.
is Disney or Universal going to put anything extra during the day for the regular ticket holders? So
That's
that's where it kind of goes back and forth. It's
yeah.
like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, where it could utilize and be beneficial for the after hours event, but then it cripples the daytime ticket holders where we say, oh, we want immersiveness in this land 24/7.
Sure.
And it's like, well, then what do you then do for the after hours events? It's almost like even with our YouTube channels,
Yeah.
we have paid memberships.
Yeah.
So we have to utilize certain content that could only be specifically for members.
100%. And we got Mr. Cannon Camper in the house. Always great to see Cannon Camper. But no, I 100% agree. I really honestly do agree with that. It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. So it's kind of hard to nitpick what to offer and what not to offer. One of the things that we saw at FanFest, and I kind of wish Universal, me and George both talked about this, that they kind of did a little bit differently. And we're actually going to go back on May the 1st to grab our AP magnet. So if you're an annual pass holder for Universal Hollywood, they're dropping the second AP magnet for the Fast and Furious series for Hollywood Drift. So definitely go grab your magnet while supplies last. But one of the things that Universal did months and months ago, they offered a special ticket deal where if you bought the ticket for opening night, you could pick up a medallion. And the medallion was kind of like a challenge coin type quality. And like I said early on, we did early entry and we were told by the team members, oh yeah, go into the Universal store and pick it up. We went into the Universal store and they said, oh, well, we're not going to hand it out until 7:30. And I kind of was talking to George off and on all night about this. I'm like, well, there's only a select, group of us that are getting these medallions. It's not like it's open to the general public. They have as many medallions as tickets they sold for that special ticket deal. So it's not like they were giving them out to the general public. So I kind of got confusion on why they didn't just hand it to us when we walked in the early entry. But George,
that's what I would, and it would have been, it could have saved all of us time. It could have saved the team members time, because we didn't get our medallions. And then after you made that call to Universal, it turned out that a lot of people didn't do it, because once you're in the midst of the activities during FanFest, are you really going to walk all the way back up to the front of the park to grab your medallion? You forget about it. And then by the time you're done at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're tired and it's like you forget. And I will say and I do agree with you, because I said the same thing, that they should have just handed to us when they scan our passes for the event, hand it to us, we go on our merry way. When we first entered in the park, we were told to go to the box office. That's where they're giving them out. We go to the box office and they say, oh no, you got to go to the studio store. But yeah, it won't be available till 7:30. And then that's when it was just, luckily you got the information that that the team member told you that when we go up for our magnet to stop by, produce the ticket that we got, not for early entry, but for the pre-sale ticket. And then we are able, because they got all the medallions literally waiting for people to come and pick them up.
Well, see, it's interesting you mentioned that, George, because you kind of dabbed in it a little bit. And I know you want to read this comment, but one of the things I saw was the mere fact that, let's say they weren't dropping the annual pass holder magnet yet. Okay. What you know, now people have to go out of their way to drive all the way back up there. Like, I'm meaning people like me who don't live close and live like an
Mhm.
hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes just to grab a challenge medallion coin that they shouldn't have just handed me while I was at the event and save
Mhm.
all the time, effort, and stress. And again, I kind of feel that Universal needs to work on that just a little bit. But overall, I think the experience, the event was awesome. There's some, you know, tweaks that need to happen with each experience because that was kind of chaos. But like I stated, and I'll state it again, opening night, opening weekend of any after dark event, whether it's Universal or Disney, is usually chaos. And team members don't always have the proper facts. And I don't really blame them. I kind of take a look, or I take a
Upper
hard look
management.
at upper management because they need to explain it to the team members better. Because when you look at any business, whether it's the theme parks, whether it's businesses like Costco where I work at, you know, if the upper management is not explaining to the frontline workforce on how things are going to work,
It reflects the service.
exactly, it reflects the service. And then on top of that, the people that are on the front lines as employees, they get all the negativity from people coming in. What you know, hoping for one thing, and then it turns out to be another. And upper management most of the time doesn't have to deal with that. So it's almost like upper management's kind of throwing the people on the front lines under the bus. And I kind of feel like not just the theme parks, but customer service
In general.
businesses
Yeah,
need to work on that. And
I
that's all across the board.
I agree
But
completely.
George, was there anything else you wanted to bring up about the event?
No, actually, I covered, I think, everything that I wanted to. I was actually gonna ask you the same question. Was there anything, that we missed or you wanted to bring up?
I think the only other thing I would like to kind of just bring up for a second was the the One Piece Harbor Galley, that restaurant that took over
Mm,
Hollywood and Dine.
mhm.
That was literally a ridiculous line. Like, I mean,
I think that's why it perturbed us to not get any of the food
yeah,
because it would
the
have
lines
taken
were
so
insane.
much of our time.
The lines were insane for that. So I don't know. One of the things that I would like to see going forward, and it's not to diminish the hardworking team members that work at these dining locations at Universal, or Disney, but Universal in this case. And one of the things I saw in Universal Orlando with Epic Universe, with all the parks out there, was I love that you could just scan a QR code and pick up your food. It was so convenient where you didn't have to wait in lines like that. And I know Universal Hollywood kind of does it a little bit, but Universal Orlando really perfected it very well. Like literally, like one of the best experiences was walking in the Pizza Moon. We
Mm,
literally walk in, sit at a table, we scan the QR code, order our food, say that we're here, and it literally gets delivered to the table. You know what I mean?
mhm.
I think that could possibly, not guaranteed, but possibly that type of system could possibly help um with the congested lines for especially like specialty food items. And I kind of feel like with the media event being in the plaza area, I think that was a little too big for what they had because there was a lot of seating they couldn't put in there. And I've seen a lot of people that did and were able to get the food from, you know, the One Piece restaurant or some of the other restaurants that were offering the specialty food items. They had nowhere to sit because the whole plaza was all for the media. I kind of feel like they kind of moved that somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
So that's my only thing that I would like to see going forward. Um, and then to kind of just speak to Universal in general, and it's not to nod off to any of the hardworking creators that have literally busted tails or their tails from start to now for their channels, but I would like to see the theme parks, not just Universal but Disney as well, kind of explore the option of allowing other content creators to have a media night and not just the same content creators. And again, this is not the diss any of the creators that are at these media events that have worked years to get to where they are now.
But for us to have a chance as
Exactly.
well. Yeah. Because
Exactly.
eventually we would like to get to where they're at.
Yes.
But in order to do so, we need the opportunity to.
Yes. So I would encourage both Universal and Disney to kind of look at that. And if anything, have a second media night. So you have the first one with obviously the bigger content creators, but then you have a second night of media where it's like the smaller channels, give them an opportunity. I would like to see that going forward. I kind of feel like with Universal and Disney, um, they're basically getting free press the way I see it.
Mhm.
They don't have to, they're not paying us to cover this stuff. We cover this stuff because we're passionate about it and we love providing a awesome experience for our communities. So I would like to see that going forward, but go ahead with the question.
So Justin says it's a 2-step forward, 1 step back kind of thing when it comes to the logistics of FanFest. Excuse me, especially for the food items.
Yeah. I kind of feel like the food items, that was kind of chaotic this year. Again, it was the first night. It could be totally different right now where Tommy uh and Orange Go 55 and Wizard and a bunch of people we kind of hung out with the first night. Maybe it's a different experience because after the first night, maybe the thrill kind of dies down a little bit. Who knows?
Well, and I'm going to even take it 1 step further for when
Sure.
we go back because it
Yeah.
still is considered opening weekend
Yeah.
kind of thing. And with it being a Saturday, it may be even more with people that are off of work or what have you. So I'm
Sure.
very curious to see, like, in the next couple weeks where it lies. Does the hype stay? Does it grow? Does it die down? That's going to be
Yeah.
very telling.
100%. And one of the things I will say, um, for people that want to go to these events, and I'm not talking about the merch. The merch is one thing, but like for the food, I would say for both Disney and Universal, going forward, I would like to see them have the specialty food all the way up to the last day. And not, tell people, "Oh, well, it's the last couple of days of the event, so we're not going to have that food item." What if a family of 4 or a couple from out of town, like, I mean, that don't even live in California, drive all the way out here to
That's the
experience
time
the
when they
food?
can get out. Yeah, and if you're buying a ticket, everyone should have that opportunity to
Exactly.
get the same experience.
Exactly. And food's a lot easier to kind of make for like a specialty food item instead of like merch. So merch, I understand that. Food, I don't really understand that. So I would like to see that going forward because one of the perfect examples, the Festival of Holidays. We started doing the booths, and not even an hour in, they ran out of food items. It's like, how in the
I
hell
still
did
don't
that
know
even
how that happened. I
Yeah,
s I
that's
still
crazy.
that still baffles me, that if you're opening grand opening for the year and
Yeah,
you're anticipating, isn't that why we have the reservation system? You should automatically anticipate how many people are gonna be in the park, and you're gonna run
100%.
out within an hour? I don't know.
Uh,
Justin said, "The offerings are so much better compared to last year. So accept the win. I suspect they'll continue to learn and improve with subsequent years." I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it was a big
Yeah,
win.
Park Explorer Adventure in the house. Welcome in. I didn't like the Shaggy sandwich, but I would say it again. Wait, I didn't like the Shaggy sandwich, but I would buy it again on the final day.
Okay.
Hmm.
I okay. I know this is going to be interesting, but I'm going to try to go out on a limb here. I think the quality of the sandwich itself, if it was actually sold at a dining restaurant location, I think the quality wouldn't have been much better.
I agree. I think by having it on the lot where you're actually like moving it in, kind of like a little catering kind of booth.
Like a
They
pop-up
already,
tent.
yeah, and they already have them pre-made, pre-packaged. They've been sitting probably since 9 a.m. and they're feeding us at midnight. So it's so it's like the food that it's like, yeah, I agree with you. I think, and that's what I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to have the sandwich maybe done at the lower lot, sort of like where they had like the Fazbear pizza for Five Nights at Freddy's during HHN.
Sure.
That's where I thought it was going to be.
Well, sure. Or you know, you can even go out on a limb and have it come from a food truck. At least it wouldn't have been, maybe the quality wouldn't have been a little bit better. Because I've had some amazing food from food trucks. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, food trucks are like the best kind of food.
100%. So
Sometimes better than actually like big time food chain restaurants.
I know, right?
So Park Explorer says, I'm trying to get the Scooby snacks, but they keep selling out.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And yeah, you know what's funny? And what cracks me up is because we were me and George and Abby were at Storytellers, and that's, you guys can kind of see it on my on my bureau over here, that Mickey Fun Wheel popcorn bucket, and that's when they debuted Humphrey the Bear at Storytellers. So we went there, and it's funny because all the team members, or not team members, cast members, were coming up to our table. They're like, "What is that?" You know, they didn't even know what it was. I'm like, "Oh, it's a popcorn bucket you guys are selling and whatnot." And then a lot of the characters, including Humphrey the Bear, were playing with it because it actually lights up as you spin it. And what was interesting to kind of get to the point I'm getting to is we see like Disney scalpers like crazy. Like there's pictures online where people have like, I don't know, they'll buy like 30 of these damn things and they have bags like just over their shoulders. It's totally ridiculous. And people hate on those people all the time. And I kind of felt like in that realm with the Scooby snacks, because I was waiting for George and Tommy and all that. And I had like 5 or 6 boxes. And I kind of felt like eyes were staring at me like, what the hell is this guy
You were
doing?
like the meme. Have you ever seen the meme from The Lion King where Sarabi is walking and she has her head up and her eyes closed, and you have all the hyenas surrounding her and they're growling and they're snarling and they're showing their teeth? That was you walking with the 5 boxes of Scooby snacks and everyone.
Right? Oh my God.
Justin says, imagine year 3, the Shaggy sandwich at Mel's Diner.
Oh, dude.
Right near where Scooby gang normally hang out. Exactly. That's like, they could have just done that because they could have made it like an actual true traditional like Dagwood sandwich.
Oh, dude.
I call it the Shagwood sandwich. I don't know. That didn't
that.
sound right.
Well, the thought process was at least you
kind of lost in translation, but yeah, the Shaggy sandwich, like Mel's Diner, like that would have been
perfect. That would have been perfect because actually that little the Parisian courtyard where they usually have an HHN house, they could have had like the Scooby-Doo experience in that. That little courtyard, even though it's not big, it's not a big area, I'm not gonna lie, but they kind of had the experience right there, and then incorporating Mel's Diner with all the Scooby food, the sandwich, the hot dog, because it kind of gives that diner, type feel of food. Yeah. So that they kind of made that work. So I 100% agree with that. One of the things for year 3 of FanFest. Well, let me ask you, do you think they would bring back Scooby?
I don't
Like,
think so. I don't think. I think honestly, this was probably going to be a one and done.
okay,
They may do something with Scooby Doo, but as far as like a big scope on the lot,
sure.
I don't think. They may do something where, like with Mel's Diner, as Justin mentioned, like where they could have like the Scooby snacks and the sandwich maybe brought back at Mel's Diner, and then have like the meet and greet with the characters on, or do something kind of interesting there. Maybe do maybe a Scooby Doo walkthrough, like where they had the Star Trek
Yes, that
kind of
would be
thing.
cool.
Maybe do something with that. That's what I thought they were going to do with Scooby Doo. I
Yeah.
thought really Scooby Doo was going to take over the Star Trek
Footprint.
area, but like when they said it was going to the lot, I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Now I think probably each year they're going to want to do something different with the back lot.
Justin actually said they'll do something else on the lower lot, but they can keep the Scooby Doo gang on the upper lot. 100% agree. I think for year 3, if I had to guess, I'm gonna go for the easy win here. Like I said early on with Nintendo, I think if we saw meet and greet characters like Star Fox, or we had Wario or Waluigi, or you had Bowser Jr. as meet and greets, I think that would be awesome. And big shout out to Hunters Unite. I've known him. If many of you don't know, I've known him since grade school. We went to school together, so I've known him 25 plus years. And he was actually with us on opening night, and that was just a absolute enjoyment because I love hanging out with him, especially because he's actually the one who actually encouraged me to start going to Halloween Horror Nights back in 2014. So
And as I said, and I got to hang out with him and Chris West during the Halloween season as well. And I mean, they were phenomenal as like the tour guides, kind of guiding me through, like with Not Scary Farm, because that was my first time there. I didn't know where the hell I was going. So like,
oh my gosh, that's crazy. But
it's always a good time hanging out with them for sure.
No, 100%.
So you were saying what you would like to see.
Yeah, so Nintendo with that. It's kind of hard to tell what they would do if they did bring back Back to the Future. I would like to see maybe Back to the Future Part 3 in the backlot if they did bring it back.
You know what I would love to see?
What's that?
I don't know as far as what they can do, because it may be a safety hazard because of the mechanics and the water. And I know that we already surpassed the 50th anniversary of Jaws. And I know they utilized the characters up in the upper lot, but what if they took us down into the Jaws area where we got to walk Amity Island?
That would be cool.
And they had the characters down there, and they had like a show kind of going on down there. That would be really cool.
That would be really awesome.
Or I know this would fit more for Psycho. I'm sorry, for HHN, and I do know that they utilize like to meet Norman Bates and everything. But if they did something with like a storyline, like with the Bates Motel and everything, and the house on the hill, they can utilize something like utilize the sections for like the IP that was given for the classic Universal, IPs. Now, do I see them doing a year 3 for FanFest? Yes, I think it's still at its pinnacle point. I still think it's very successful, and I can honestly say they're definitely going to utilize more anime for sure. I wouldn't be surprised they bring back One Piece. They'll bring back Sailor Moon. Maybe they'll do. I don't know as far as like with the licensing. Maybe they'll bring Naruto.
Yes.
I don't know if they can do Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm not sure, or Studio Ghibli, like anything of that nature, like Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle. Like, oh my gosh, that would be like moneymaker. Or Totoro. Can you imagine a meet and greet of Totoro?
Oh my God, I can't even imagine it. It'd be insane.
That was one of the things that Abby and I did put in specifically. for the I said if it could be possible, if Totoro could have a meet and greet. Now Abby did get the survey. We didn't get to do it yet because we didn't have the time, but we're probably going to do it soon while
Sure.
it's still active. And she got it because she was the one that put the ticket under her name, so that's why she got the survey. So yeah, we're gonna pull it out. I'm curious to see what they say, like as far as like for next year or what you would like to see, you know,
Sure.
on and so forth.
And Hunters Unite actually said tonight's event is more packed. They should definitely add more dates for next year. I 100% agree.
Yeah. And then Justin says that Avatar: The Last Airbender is owned by Paramount and Disney owns the domestic copyright on Ghibli. That's what I thought too with the Ghibli. So yeah, they're definitely not going to get, unfortunately. And because here's the thing, I feel like Ghibli or Ghibli, I don't know how to, I say Ghibli, but I feel like that it would be more utilized better at Universal because Disney really does. I mean, Disney does make bank on them in some format, but I just think they would be utilized much better with Universal at FanFest.
100%. Park Explorer Adventure said they could do Dragon Ball since Dragon Ball had a 4D show in Universal Japan. Dragon Ball Z would be a sick experience.
Oh, yeah. That's another one.
Gosh.
Or even Pokemon. Like, even Pokemon can still, even though that they may be bringing a full land to the Universal Orlando parks, but they could still utilize Pokemon out here for FanFest.
Well, I was actually going to say, because big shout out to Theme Park Wizard. He actually, me and him talk quite often about this. And they even publicly stated it as well that Pokemon was Mark Woodbury's looking at bringing Pokemon into the parks. So what if, seriously, what if, you know, if they brought Pokemon to FanFest and it was a massive hit, and that just kind of further solidifies of them bringing a possible future land to Hollywood, like they beta tested it.
Possible. I mean, anything's possible, really, or even the anime aspect into Orlando. Like I had mentioned before, that Toon Lagoon, that could eventually become One Piece or something like that because it has the same color scheme, the very bright colors, you know, and it's all based with water. So, I mean, it could work. Park Explorer Adventure. This is very interesting. Would be cool if they did Back to the Future 3 at 6 points.
That would be interesting.
That would be really cool.
I would have liked to seen that before they ripped down half of 6 Point Texas. Now it's like almost like 2.5, 3 Point Texas.
Yeah.
Now, if they wouldn't have done that before the construction, I 100% want to agree with you on that. Now it's
or also too, they can still utilize the Hill Valley and turn it to the future of Back to the the future of the future of Back to the Future Part 2. That would be really cool.
True. And Hunters Unite said Forbidden Forest is 100 minutes. That again, we kind of touched upon that. Like, they were only taking small groups of 15 people, so that's why it's having long lines.
Yeah,
because it's a guided experience. It's not like a free roam experience, so it does take a little bit longer. But overall, you know, from I know usually I go 1 through 10. We could do that then. Make it simple. 1 through 10. What did you think overall of FanFest?
Right now, I'm at it from just experiencing it one time for the opening day. I give it a 7.
A 7.
I give it a 7 out of 10. I felt like there was a lot of high points, but I feel like there was a lot of points that could be managed well and fixed operational wise. I would like to see now moving forward some bigger, better IPs. But I still had a great time. It was still a fun night. I enjoyed everyone's company that we got to hang out with. I enjoyed making the content for everybody. So it's a solid 7. Now, again, that may change once Abby and I go back for a second time, experience a few of the things that we didn't get to see, and then also try the food, it may go up a bit. It may go up a bit. We'll see.
I think for me right now, as it sits, I'm going to do probably an 8 because, again, I don't want to give a 9 or a 10 because there are some things they could tweak. But the fact that the event is only 12 nights, there's not a lot of tweaking they're probably going to do because it's such a limited run. Because as many people actually state in their videos, like I'm meaning like you have Theme Park Obsession, you have Mondo from Five Fires, Theme Park Wizard, and myself and others who do vlogs during the day at Universal at times, and we're already starting to see HHN show its head already. So it's kind of like FanFest is, happening, but it's already, kind of exiting its way out to make way for FanFest, or I mean for HHN. So I don't think with the limited amount of days they'll do too much tweaking. Maybe they'll do a little bit, but not enough where we would feel comfortable with it. So we'll have to wait and see. But I do agree with Haunters Unite. Next year, I would like to see broader IP and more dates.
I agree with that as well. Justin says, I agree. It's a 7. Some things were definitely in the 9s and 10s. And then he specifically said Jurassic Park. And others were in the 4s and 5s. Scooby-Doo, poor planning, etc. So the event, like overall, was a 7
Okay.
for him.
I kind of felt, for the nostalgia and the immersiveness, I kind of felt like Jurassic Park for me was definitely an 8. An 8 for me. And I want to say like Forbidden Forest, that was probably like a 7.5. Dungeons was probably another 7.5 for me because I think the best part literally was seeing Xanathar, the big giant puppet animatronic. But the overall theming was awesome. And the Scooby-Doo thing, it was cool to be on the Parisian court or the little Europe set. It was cool to, hang out with Scooby-Doo and the gang and the Universal monsters. But did the original concept of that really hit the mark? Probably not. It turned into something completely different than they had planned.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Scooby-Doo thing, unfortunately, I have to give about by itself like a 6. Unfortunately. I just think, it was poor managing of like what they could have done. I know what they could have done with it, what they were trying to do with it, but it just didn't hit the mark for me. Especially, I know I'm comparing it to Back to the Future, which that's going to be hard to even surpass, to be honest with you. But One Piece, the show, the water show, I give actually a solid 8. I think it would go up to like a 9, 9.5 for me if they can just figure out the operations of getting people into the amphitheater.
By far.
Yeah. Harry Potter for me, I think was a 7. I think, again, that could have been done a little bit much better operational wise. That I think because we waited 45 minutes, I was okay with it. If I had waited 190 minutes, I think that would have been underwhelming.
Yeah.
As much as Buckbeak was impressive, the Centaur was impressive, Devil's Snare, the giant spider, like that was great. But to be in that line for 190 minutes, I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think personally, like you said, there's definitely things they need to tweak. But I think, again, with the limited amount of days that the event is happening, I don't think too much tweaking is going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah, it may be very small amount of things, but yeah, they'll probably look at the data, they'll look at the surveys, they'll look at the customer feedback, and then they'll tweak it for next year.
100%. And do keep in mind when we talk about this stuff at the events and we do these lives, this is also helping the theme parks because they have even said it on countless occasions. Just like George said, the customer feedback, the Q&A, or basically surveys they send the people on emails, and then their media department, they watch lots of YouTube videos, especially something like this where they kind of watch it, they take notes, they learn from it, and for the next year's event, they try to work on those issues. So the parks and the companies that represent the parks, they do listen to the fans. They do watch a lot of content creation videos on the theme parks to kind of do a little bit of research. You know what I mean? So it's for us, it's kind of like we're giving them feedback in a way.
Yeah. And as I said, Abby and I are going to do that survey. I'm very curious what they ask. I'm very curious to see what they offer for, like, if they mention about future Fan Fest, if they mention any IPs that they have in mind. I'm very curious because Universal isn't shy with that stuff when it comes to the fans and the guests commentating with the feedback. They're very open with that.
100%.
Justin says, I'm just glad they're listening to the fans. Absolutely. We wanted more One Piece and more anime representation after last year, and we got it. It feels great and to be seen and heard. And I agree with that. I feel like Universal is already there with guest feedback and how they listen to the fans. I feel like Disney kind of fell out of that, but I feel like it's possible that Disney may be getting back into that. I'm hoping, especially with Josh D'Amaro at the helm as CEO. So we'll have to wait and see for sure.
100%. But I want to thank everybody, including our amazing host tonight, George the Disney Italiano from Hollow Gelato, always bringing the vibes online during these live streams. He is literally my partner in crime when it comes to the live streams, just like Tommy Toon World is my partner in crime when it comes to the in-park events like HHN and so many others. But I want to give a programming note. I'm still debating on doing a Conductor Sunday live stream tomorrow night. I think I am going to skip it and kind of take a little bit of a rest because FanFest kind of wore me out and then work's been wearing me out. But I do want to let everybody know this week, me and Hollow Gelato, Tommy Toon World, we are going to be on location at Disneyland multiple days, including the 29th, which is going to be a big, big, big day for everybody, not just me and George and Tommy, but the whole content creation, YouTube platform, and social media, because everyone's going to run to Galaxy's Edge because we're going to see the original trilogy characters debut. Darth Vader with his stormtroopers, Princess Leia, Han, Luke, R2-D2, Chewbacca, and all that. And all that coverage is going to be happening. And then later on in the week, we're going to be doing, I'm guessing, on Hollow Gelato on location, we'll be doing an out of theater review of Devil Wears Prada 2. I'm super excited to see it because I love the first movie from 2006. So I'm very curious to see this and really give my insight and input on this. And I know George is actually going to a Star Wars event, so if you want to let everybody know what that's going to be like.
Absolutely. Yeah. The next week is going to be very busy. Abby and I, along with Conductor and Tommy Toon, we will be on location down in Anaheim. I will be joining Tommy for a couple days at Disneyland doing some of his content with the food and everything, kind of giving him some time to get some things up. And then, yes, we will be covering on the 29th the grand reveal of the original Star Wars characters going into, for the very first time, the timeline will be shattered, folks, for Galaxy's Edge. That umbilical cord broken, that cherry popped at the door. So we are going to be there covering it all. I can't wait to see Darth Vader walking around.
Oh my God, dude.
I hope they bring the music up. You can't just have Vader walking around without the music. I'm sorry.
God,
The
no.
Stormtroopers, Leia and Han Solo accompanying with Luke and R2 and Chewbacca. It's going to be great. I can't wait to see that. And then Conductor had mentioned, then Abby and I, along with Mademoiselle, we will be doing Star Wars Night. We will be doing coverage of that on the 30th. And then, as Conductor had mentioned, we will be doing an out-of-theater review of The Devil Wears Prada 2. I cannot wait to see this movie. The trailers look phenomenal. I loved the first movie. I waited 20 years for a sequel, and it's finally here. And I just have to say, Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, they look like they never aged.
No.
From the 20 years. Like, they are like, I mean, they look phenomenal.
And Stan, was his name?
Stanley Tucci, yes.
Stanley Tucci, yeah. He looks a little bit older, but he still looks very, very good for his age. And he actually has a documentary series on Disney Plus, because he does a lot of Italy trips, which I know this guy loves Italy. This guy screams Italy. But he does a lot of that. He does a lot of cooking on that documentary on Disney Plus. So definitely go check that out, because I started watching it and I was very entertained by it. But I'm telling you right now, though, one of the biggest highlights I could see right now, literally, like we all saw with the Yoshi thing, everyone's going to be huddled. And I'm not even kidding. Everyone's going to be huddled where Kylo Ren's ship is, because I kind of feel like Darth Vader is literally going to come out of the ship with the stormtroopers. And the first time he does that, people are going to go nuts.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you, to get the footage, I don't care. If you have to put me on your shoulders, like, I don't care. I'll do it. And if people start looking, I'll be like, well, do you put your child up on your shoulders? Then shut up.
I'm going to have to bring my back brace for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, because I'm trying to like hold it steady. You're trying to hold me up. And then we just go boom.
And I'm trying to hold my camera on top of all that. Jeez,
Yeah.
Louise.
Oh my gosh, that would be a sight for sore eyes. And when I say sore eyes, that would really be sore eyes.
So let me ask you this, because obviously Disney's going to be dropping some amazing merch for this. Popcorn buckets. We're already starting to see the merch.
Oh, and that's the other thing too. You and I will possibly be down there for actual May the 4th. So when all that merch drops.
Oh God, dude, it's gonna be chaos. Now, let me ask you this though, for the popcorn bucket, okay? Because we actually did this for, again, over my shoulder, that Mickey Fun Wheel popcorn bucket. They actually had it on virtual queue.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Jabba's Palace's ship will be on virtual queue? Because everyone's gonna run and get that.
I think honestly, the Pixar Palaron popcorn bucket that you display back there, and I got mine too. I think that's the start of, in the words of High School Musical, the start of something new. I think now moving forward, those big time popcorn buckets are going to be for virtual queue, especially for the hype up demand. I can't foresee just walking in there on May 4th and saying, oh yeah, I want a Jabba ship. And it just gets handed to you. I would be shocked to high heaven and low hell if that's the case.
No, God, no. And be prepared. Someone's going to capture a scalper having like 30 of them. That's just a given.
Yep.
I will say, I'm hoping, I don't think they released the details on it, but I'm hoping, like with the actual ship, it kind of has lights on it or something, or it's playing like a little bit of the music. That would be sick.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool.
And I think, honestly, just being down there on May 4th, just like the vibe.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be real. And I think those are the times like I'm really in Galaxy's Edge most of the time.
Sure.
So we got a lot of content coming out on all spectrums, coming out from Holo Gelato, Theme Park Conductor, Tommy Toon. So definitely follow us on all social media platforms. Hit that notification bell and all that good stuff, because there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out. John Make It Rain says, any movie recommendations?
George, that's all you.
So speaking of, because you had mentioned Italy with Stanley Tucci, if anyone has not seen You, Me, and Tuscany, starring Halle Bailey, who was the live action Ariel. I know a lot of people don't like the live action Little Mermaid, but she was very sweet and charming in this movie. Very funny. It's a rom-com, and I'm sorry, I'm a man's man. I love myself. I love me a good rom-com. I'm sorry, I do.
Yeah.
It's a really it's a really good movie, especially after seeing the movie The Drama, which it almost felt like you need like a therapy session after seeing that.
Sure.
Yumi and Tuscany is a decent
So
is a decent movie. John asked, yes, I think right now it's currently in theaters. I'm not sure when it will come out on streaming. And yeah, Abby says, you can eat, pray, and love me, baby. That's one of the best lines in the movie. And yeah, Justin, definitely Project Hail Mary is doing bonker numbers at the box office. It's not going to streaming anytime soon, because they're getting their money's worth out of it. They're keeping it in theaters, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
When a movie is doing well in theaters, leave it. Let it go. Let it do its run.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would say for all my Nintendo fans, definitely go see Mario Galaxy. That was a great movie.
That was a good movie. Yeah, if you want to have like a fun nostalgia kind of night, and just having a great time, yeah, definitely check out Super Mario Galaxy. For upcoming movies, I haven't seen it yet, but I could already tell you, get tickets to go see Devil Wears Prada 2. I guarantee you, if it's anything like the first one or what the previews are showing us, it's going to be worth it. And then, of course, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which will be coming out. We all have tickets to go see it on May 21st, the day it actually does its previews. And then we'll go into the park the next day for the Smuggler's Run redo. And I'm for sure that's going to be on virtual queue too. I guarantee you they're not just going to just do a regular line. Oh, and another movie, please, Abby and I just went and saw it, was Michael, the new Michael Jackson biopic. Phenomenal movie. I swear, people, if they weren't even hyped when the music parts came on, they were hyped up when Michael stood up to his dad, and like just moments in the movie, people were applauding and cheering, and it was like, even in death, Michael is still making moves down here on Earth, and he is still truly the king of pop.
100%. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. And this is for movies that eventually are going to happen, and how Disney has done it in the past. And please, God, do this. Please bring it back. Pirates 6, have a red carpet premiere in the park. Please do it.
Yes, they did that with Dead Man's Chest, and that was, I've never seen like that done, I think, ever again. Like that was like the one time they literally closed down Disneyland, and they had the red carpet, they had the stars of the movie, they had all celebrities, the media and everything, and you got to watch the movie in the park. Like that to me was crazy.
Really cool. I think that, and eventually if they do get Nicolas Cage to do a National Treasure 3, please, for the love of God, do that. Because I'm telling you right now, those movie premieres in Disneyland with the red carpet and all that, I loved it. And you can make it a special ticket event Like you can have tickets, sold for D23 members and then the general public, where they could be in Disneyland with the red carpet happening and all that, and they could see the stars and all that. I think that would be a wonderful experience.
I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't move ahead with National Treasures 3.
I heard rumblings they are getting with Jerry Bruckheimer, which if many of you don't know, he is going to be a Disney legend this year. So I'm very happy about that because I think he deserves it.
Dude, can you imagine going to the studio showcase
and
they give us the teaser for Pirate 6 and Treasure 3?
Oh
man,
I'd be dying, dude. I'd be like, heck yeah, you'll probably hear. Okay, funny story about this, folks. When we were doing our little snippet clips with Tommy Toon World, and every single park we went to, we all screamed, "We're here!" I think George actually went deaf in one ear. I think he lost hearing in one ear.
Yeah, because you were standing to my left, so I think like I have like a certain percentage off of hearing loss in this ear. So I have to make sure either when we're sitting watching the event, either I have you on my right because that way it'll balance out once. Because if we get news like that, I know you're going to end up shouting.
I'm screaming.
So I don't know. I might have to have you on my right so it like balances out the percentage of the hearing loss.
God. But yeah, a lot of I would love to see that. And again, that's just another prime example of Disney, upselling tickets. You're not going to tell me that it wouldn't be a huge welcome back to Disney to have a red carpet event on Main Street of Pirates 6 with the Pirates cast, especially with Johnny Depp coming back. Or I heard Orlando Bloom wants to come back. Keira Knightley wants to come back. You have
Bill Nighy for Davy Jones.
Yeah, he wants to come back.
They have to bring him back because they gave us that little teaser at the end of Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Yes,
and he's back, so they have to bring him back.
100%, and that would really be an awesome event. Like I said, D23 tickets for D23 members, please. And this time, actually make it available. You know what I mean? Like, don't have like 100 tickets when you expect about 500 to 600 people. Don't do that because buying D23 tickets now, I know why George's blood pressure goes through the roof during that year. And that time. I can see why now because mine went through the roof.
Yeah. Now you got a little taste of it. So now we're fine now because we have our tickets. But watch, in 2 years' time, all those same feelings are going to be coming back.
100%. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, everybody, thank you so much for joining this live stream. Stay tuned to Hollow Gelato, Theme Park Conductor, Tommy Toon World for all the amazing content coming up this week. Also as well, if you see me in the park, I'm kind of doing a new thing, and big shout out to Hollow Gelato. Him and his wonderful wife Abigail made these stickers for Theme Park Conductor and the buns. If you see me in the park, I do carry some on me. Come say hello and I'll give you a sticker and a bun. Kind of like a little memento for coming to say hi to me. So if you see me in the park, I'm not hard to miss. You'll see me off in the distance. And usually if I'm in the park, you'll hear George nearby. So he's with me. So you'll hear him and you'll see me. So
exactly. That's exactly how it goes. In any case, I have a few things before we get out of here. I'm just going to plug a few things. So first off is the annual Chalk Walk, Walk in the Park at Disneyland. I will be joining fellow content creators, live streamers, good friends, Theme Park Casual, Berry Place, Cordy in California, and other people. We are joining the cause to raise money for terminally ill children that are sick in the hospital, and basically that any donation would be grateful to help figure out cures for these illnesses. And I had mentioned it once or twice before, just being sarcastic, that you know, despite them being sick, that these kids still have hope that something is going to help them, and we have to contribute to that. So if you follow my socials on Instagram, and I also post it in the community tab on YouTube, you could find the link where you can donate. Anything would be helpful. Again, we would appreciate it. And I will be doing the chalk walk in Disneyland on August 2nd with my fellow content creators. So I just wanted to post that. And then another would be, I'm so very sorry. Give me 1 second. Second one is the Make-A-Wish World Wish Day on April 29th, which is also the day of Star Wars, but in the evening time, Abby and I will be attending. We are collaborating with Dave & Buster's in Orange County. They are having an event from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Definitely, there's going to be food. There's going to be obviously games and everything. It's 10% off of food and beverages, excluding alcohol drinks. And that those proceeds go to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And if you purchase a $25 game card, you get basically a BOGO. You get a buy one, get one. You get $50 worth. So you get 25 free. And so again, it's for a worthy cause for the Make-A-Wish Foundation at Dave & Buster's in Orange County on April 29th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So I just wanted to, again, it's posted on the Holo Gelato Instagram, and I will be making a community post on YouTube very shortly. So look out for that. And I have one more important thing that I do want to share. So, very good friend of ours, Drew, the Disney dude, recently unexpectedly lost his dad. And Drew says it best. He goes on, he made a specific video with his mom covering the details of that. That's not for me to say. I think to hear it come from Drew, that's the more respectful thing. But what I do ask is, Drew and his mom are reaching out for any kind of donations due to the unforeseen circumstances, you know, financially that it put them in from his dad's sudden passing. So again, if you're following me on social media, on X, and also on Facebook, please feel free to follow the links. They did start a GoFundMe, and anything that you can contribute to help Drew and his mom out is greatly appreciated by me and everyone in the community, because we all think very highly of Drew. I was fortunate enough to meet his dad on several occasions when I hung out with Drew at Disney World, and one of the sweetest people that you would ever meet. And his mom seems really nice too, very nice too. So Drew was in good company of being raised by really decent parents. And as I said, from meeting his dad, he was phenomenal. So this also means something from me also to Drew, that you know, he's in our thoughts and prayers. And as I said, for him to take his time to really, you know, take care of business and properly mourn and, you know, feel the way he feels. But in the meantime, it would greatly appreciate not only them, but me, to actually, for someone to to donate to the GoFundMe. So I just wanted to throw in those plugins again for the Chalk Walk at Disneyland, the Make-A-Wish event at Dave and Buster's, and of course the GoFundMe for Drew the Disney Dude.
100%. And I just want to say for Drew, my heart and prayers go out to you, your mom, your family, because I can't imagine losing a parent. I know we're all gonna experience that one way or the other at some point in our life.
But you're never prepared. You're never
No.
prepared for it.
No, you're not. And Drew, if you are watching this, if you ever need anything, please reach out. Again, my heart and prayers goes out to you, your mom, and your entire family, because it must be a horrendous, difficult time for you. And I just encourage everybody that has parents, you know, really take the time and spend quality time with them, because you never know what's going to happen one day to the next. So definitely spend the time with them if you're able to. Tell them you love them, call them, text them, take them out to lunch, or just hang out in general, because you never know. And this goes for anybody. You never know what tomorrow brings. You don't.
It is very true. It is very true. We are very limited on this this thing called life, and yeah, you want to embrace it as much as you can, and with the people that are surrounded with you. So I definitely agree with you. And again, conductor, thank you so much for joining today. It's always a good time with you, always. And of course, we're almost at the 3-hour mark, which is like nothing new to us.
Nope.
But I'm not sure if you already did, but if you did, remind everyone where they can find you on social media.
Absolutely. And again, big shout out to you for being a wonderful, amazing host. As always, I love doing these lives with you, because literally these lives feel like 5 minutes to me. And here we are almost 3 hours. Crazy. But you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1. And every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we talk everything from Disney to Universal. We speculate, we talk rumors, we get the chat involved. The chat, you guys are amazing, especially people like John Make It Rain, David, Justin, Abby, and so many others. And we have amazing guests like the one and the only Mr. Disney, the Hollow Gelato, with his spicy Italian theme park opinions I love so much, and so many others. Tommy Toon World with his world famous food reviews. We got Mr. Hey Bricky's been on the channel, so we're definitely trying to get him back on the channel. It's been a little bit of logistical nightmare, and so many others, as we really kind of just nerd out and talk about the theme parks and talk about the companies like Disney, like Universal, because we share that passion so very much.
Absolutely. Very well said. And of course, folks, you know me. I'm George, the Disney Italiano. And as I always say, in Disney Italiano fashion, stay safe, stay healthy, wait a minute. I did it again. It's all Universal, baby.